So if you're new to DaVinci Resolve, color grading, or even just trying to work out how to make your footage look better than the stock standard Rec 709, then Dehancer is a tool you definitely want to have a look at. First, let me say I'm not a colorist, I'm not a DaVinci Resolve expert or professional filmmaker, but as a full-time photographer for the last 18 years, I'm very familiar with the post-production tools available to, sort out specific looks for my images. When I started shooting video, I was faced with a huge learning curve. Things I took for granted as a, professional photographer, they were just not the same. Some things were just impossible to do, or I had to find a completely different way to do them. The biggest challenge, and to be honest, something I still struggle with, is to translate the look that I have in my mind with the footage that I've shot. A while back, Dehancer reached out to me and asked if I wanted to try their product, and of course I said yes, absolutely. What I love about Dehancer is the fact that whether you're new to filmmaking, struggling to color grade your footage, or just want to emulate film looks, Dehancer is a great tool not only to emulate a film stock, but also it's a great starting point to create your own looks. So I've got a couple of examples. I think let's check them out and show you how I've used Dehancer. Maybe you'll find a way that you can use it and put it into your workflow. For these examples, I'm working in a color managed space. DaVinci YRGB color managed with the color processing mode set to custom. And because I'm on a Mac, the input timeline and output color space is set to Rec 709A. And what that does mean is that when it comes to using Dehancer, the source that I need to set is Rec 709A. You can obviously select your camera profile, etc., should you want to do that. All right, so let's go through a couple of things here. The first part with your input, you can obviously take control of things like your exposure compensation. You can darken it up, brighten it up, etc. if you want to. Same with the temperature. Next up is Film Developer. You can boost the contrast, play around with the gamma, etc. But I chose not to do that. Even in the film profile, for this particular example, I haven't selected any of the options here. But what you can do is select from 63 different options when it comes to film and the print stock. I also haven't used any of the film compression here. But what you can do, for example, is play around with the tonal range, the color density, and of course where your white point will be. Now again, just because there are so many different options doesn't mean you have to apply everything all the time. Used efficiently, you'll be able to get a good look without having to do too much. So what I have done is I've used the print profile, and in this case it's the Kodak Enduro Glossy paper. And what that has done is it's just given me a really nice look. I've also applied film grain, which flattens it out a little bit. What I can also do is apply some bloom here. If you look at the highlights, it just gives those highlights a nice little roll off. And for me, this is a really nice look. So there are two examples for this particular project. This was for the English Wheel. I filmed Harry, whose company fabricates classic car bodies from flat sheets of aluminium. Being able to mimic a film look gives a gritty, hard-working heritage type feel, which artisans obviously cultivate. In order to be an artisan, you would have had to have spent thousands and thousands of hours crafting your particular skill. For this particular look, it's quite a warm, nostalgic look. Kind of reminds me of my family photos from the 70s and 80s. The beauty of using Dehancer is that you can quite quickly and easily flip between different looks, one that's warmer and something that's a little colder. So for this particular look, I wanted something that was a little bit desaturated, something that looked, again, that sort of gritty, aged feel. And what I've done, if we go and look through the options here, again, Rec 709A. From a profile point of view, I've used Kodak Aerocolor. And if we just have a look and see what that does, it completely changes the profile. So as I said early on, if you are new to color grading, you're not quite sure how the tools work,
This gives you a really good starting point, which you can either then leave as is, or you can take it further and create a look that's custom to you. If we look at the compression, film compression here, we can just see that I've pulled back the highlights a little bit. Moving down to the print profile. Now, you don't have to use the print profile. In this case, it's linear. It's not having any effect. But if you were then to choose, for example, again, that Kodak Endura, you'll see how that just gives it a really nice, punchy, dark feel. Again, not something that I was looking for in this example. Film grain, absolutely got to have for these projects. And then on the bloom side, again, just giving those highlights a little bit of glow. So that for me is another example of two nice and easy looks. As I say, a lot of different options here. You need to just play around and see what works for you. The one thing that I did see that is also quite nice is, from a monitor point of view, you can check your exposure using this particular tool. For this example, also part of my Artisan project, this is the guys from Tandem Furniture Design. This one, I wanted the same sort of desaturated look, but not as warm or as cold as the previous two examples. It just gives something that feels warm and inviting and nostalgic and that sort of thing, but in a very industrial context. If we look here at the different options that I've selected, in this particular case, Kodak Porter 160 NC, just turn that on and off. It just takes away the colored, nice little bit of desaturation that you can also push and pull to give you variance within that. I've done nothing on the expanded side of things. Again, there's no option here that I've selected for the print profile, but even within that, you have the different options that you can look at. But for me, I just left it at linear, put in the grain and the bloom. If you have a look at that light that he's using to see what he's doing, just a really nice soft glow around that. And I think it just gives such a nice feel. Right, the next example is some drone footage that was shot at a workshop that we recently held at Kubu Island in Botswana. Late afternoon, just a beautiful, beautiful sunset before we did the astrophotography. Now, in these examples, what I really wanted to do was sort of flatten out the digital look that digital cameras provide, and using Dehancer, I've managed to knock back those highlights, just flatten it all out a little bit. I've used Kodak Gold 200, just see what the difference is here. It's also just flatten it out a little bit. On the film compression side of things, you can see that I've used this to knock back those highlights. Again, just taking it away from the standard look. Not too much difference here, probably just a small tweak. And then again, on the print profile, nothing there. And the bloom, I've enabled that again, just to take away the edge of the digital look. Right, in this example, nothing much that we've changed there. I think that's pretty standard. Again, just switch between the Gold 200 and nothing else. On the film compression side, just again pulling back those highlights. I really like that sort of flattened look. On the print profile, nothing selected there. But what I wanted to show you was the effect of the bloom feature here. So if you look at the dust cloud behind the vehicle, you can see how that just softens it out, gives it just a bit of extra glow, which I really enjoy.
Well, there you go. A couple of ways Dehancer can help you in your color grading journey. Whether you're new to color grading, want to emulate a film look, or looking for a starting point for a completely custom look and creating a LUT for it, Dehancer is a great option for you. Check out the link and the details in the description below for more info and to download a trial. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.